We have with us Chamanpreet, Director Migration and Education Experts, to analyze for us what Australian budget tells us about the migration program in the coming year. Welcome to NRI Affairs, Chamanpreet. Could you please explain the budget for us?
Yesterday's budget, like every year, Vivek, was very interesting. It last 1 year has been very challenging for all of us with the COVID-19 pandemic that has hit the whole world, and that in all aspects had affected Australia and continues to do so. And keeping that in mind, the budget announcements that were made yesterday have had a mixed reaction. Some see it as a positive move, and some think it's pretty much the same. So we will today discuss all the highlights of this budget from migration perspective. And in terms of what my take is, I believe unless we go backwards, anything at level or anything better is positive. So I'm looking at it as a positive announcement. So starting with the planning levels, which are very interesting every year for all of us, the government has decided to maintain the planning levels for 2021-22 at 160,000, which was like last year. In saying so, the planning levels are just the seat allocations that are made for that particular year. What really is interesting or what really attracts attention is the net overseas migration. So net overseas migration in 2019-20 was fell, and it is expected to fall from 154,000, which was the 1920 figure, to almost half, which is 72,000 people by the end of 2021. Why so? So the reason behind it is very clear. The travel bans are preventing people from coming onshore, and that also means that processing of the applications has stopped. So as we would have noticed, all the states are not accepting any offshore migrants or offshore skilled applications. So that is one of the primary reasons why the net overseas migration is almost expected to be halved this year. And there is an assumption that the borders will open in 2022 mid. Obviously, a lot will depend on how this year pans out for us. But the projection for net migration in 23 to 24 is 200,000, nearly 200,000. So this is the overall migration landscape. In terms of the other visas, so the government has announced that the family and the skill stream will continue to be the focus of the government, and they will focus on the onshore visa applicants, obviously, as we have already discussed, and this will include reducing the partner visa applications which are already in the pipeline or are being made continuously for onshore migrants. Skilled migration is again expected to take up around 50% of the program, with priority being given to highly skilled migration in all the sectors, which includes the employer sponsored, so 482s and 186s, business innovation stream, and also the global talent visa streams. So skill migration would continue to be the focus. Obviously, a lot will depend on the occupations and the priorities of the government at any point in time. The other announcement, which was very interesting, was that the validity for the sponsored parent visa, which applicants might not have been able to avail due to COVID-19 travel restrictions, will be increased to 18 months for individual. So somebody who might not have been able to travel and is a holder of a sponsored parent visa. They would the validity of those visas would be extended to 18 months as compared to 12 months in a lot of cases. Global talent visas, as I said, remain the focus because they are very, very specialized and aimed at filling the gaps that the government may at any point in time have in their skilled workforce. So that is again a very good area to focus on. In terms of 408 visa, which has been very popular amongst a lot of migrants, the government made an announcement that people who intend to work, who make the application for the 408 visa and intend to work in the agriculture sector do not need to demonstrate their attempts to depart Australia. So one of the inherent requirements of the 408 COVID visa, as we all know it as, was that the applicants needed to demonstrate attempts to depart Australia. So the government has done away with that requirement if the applicant intends to undertake agricultural work, because obviously that has been one of the shortage areas in terms of sectors, one of the worst hit sectors in Australia at the moment. So each of these visas that the applicants apply for have a certain requirement that they have to be made within certain period of holding a visa or certain period of the visa expiry. So for this particular visa, which is the 408 visa, it could be made, in past it could have been made within 28 days of expiry of the prior visa. The government has announced that it is going to increase that to 90 days, which is very, very beneficial for a lot of people who may not have realized that the visas have already been, they have sort of run out of their visas or haven't been able to apply for another visa. Another very, very interesting announcement that came in last night's budget was the 40 hours work restriction for students in the hospitality sector. The tourism and hospitality sector are struggling quite a bit, as we know. So students who are working in tourism and hospitality sector, aged care sector, disability sector, etc., would have their work restrictions lifted up from which is currently set at 40 hours fortnight, as long as they are employed in those sectors. So which is a very, very welcome news for both employers and employees. As long as they are employed in that sector, they can work more than 40 hours per fortnight. Another very important announcement, nothing to do with migration, but a very interesting announcement that was made by the government was they are having a temporary visa holder payment pilot scheme that they are running. Funds of 10.3 million have been announced, and the scheme will run from 30th June 2022 to 23. What does that mean? So this particular scheme will provide up to 3,000 to eligible temporary visa holders to help them cover expenses such as food, accommodation, utilities, essential care, Medicare, etc. So this is a very welcome announcement for those who are temporary visa holders and have been affected by this particular pandemic. More details around this will come shortly, but this announcement was a very welcome announcement. As we know, the economy is quite hit, but the economic growth is expected to be around 4% over the next year or so. Now, talking about the other announcements, so the government has recently also announced the planning or the remaining seats for each of the states and territories, which is for the 190 and the 491 visa subclasses. As we remember, last year, each of these states were given interim allocations, and now the announcement for the full allocations also has been made a few days ago. We have seen a very interesting mix in this. Most of the states have received greater numbers as compared to their interim allocation, which is absolutely expected. But also, these places have to be filled by June. So, and the visa hopefuls who have already applied for state nominations and their applications are in the pipeline, it might be a very welcome announcement for them as well. So, for example, if I talk about Victoria, for example, the 190 interim program announcement for September was 600 seats, which has been now brought up to total of 2,500. So additional 1,900 seats were announced. And similarly, subclass 491, which had interim allocation of 200, an additional 843 seats, which takes it up to 1,043. Similarly, Tasmania received a small allocation as well in their 491. Around 350 seats were announced for them. And similarly, all our states have received more or less some additional places to their 190 and the 491 allocations, which are expected to be filled by the close of this financial year. So that is really in a gist covering our budget announcements and recent allocation announcements. Thank you.
As a migrant, as a migration professional, Chaman, did you get a positive feeling out of the whole announcements regarding the migration? Because borders are closed, people are not able to travel, students are not able to travel. So the whole, if I ask, did you get a positive feeling?
So Vivek, right at the beginning, I had said the situation that we are in at the moment, if we can maintain where we are rather than going down, it is positive. Looking at the overall budget announcements, I thought they were very reasonable, given that obviously overseas travel has been restricted and overseas migration is not happening, which is reasonable, which is not a call we have taken as a country, which and the whole entire world has taken that stance. The announcement comes as a very positive announcement to me. It is a very focused sort of budget where they are looking at filling in gaps for the Australian economy as a whole in terms of skilled migrations. Some very important announcements have been made. So a lot of sectors in terms of businesses here were struggling, and the government has taken into consideration those and given a lot of relaxation to people working in that sector. So that comes as a relief for both Australian business owners as well as people who are working in those sectors, the migrants. So I think it is a very, very balanced and a very balanced budget. I do not see it as going below what we had already set the line in. So I see it as a positive stance.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Chaman.
Thank you.